Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast, where we explore the depths of holistic health, uncovering the interconnectedness of our emotions, mind, body, and spirit. This podcast is dedicated to individuals who are on a quest to uncover their truth, understanding their genetic and spiritual DNA, and learning how to harness this knowledge to achieve optimal health. But this isn't just another health podcast. Natural Health Podcast is here to ignite a spark of hope within you, reminding you of your innate potential for greatness. You are pure love, capable of living life to its fullest expression. Are you ready to embark on a transformational journey to achieve optimal health? Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast. Today's episode is going to be an exciting one. I'm going to add on to what we spoke about last week, which is all about Virgo. I mean, we're still in Virgo season, so of course I'm going to keep talking about Virgos, right? If you didn't listen to last week's episode, I kind of gave a bit of a summary about medical astrology and the star sign Virgo. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you are, it doesn't mean that you have to listen to it because you're a Virgo, but we are in Virgo season, as above, so below. The Virgo sun is shining on us, so therefore we may be expressing those qualities of a Virgo. And if you want to know what those qualities are, I would highly suggest to listen to last week's episode. It's a quick one and just kind of give a summary. But today I'm going to go in depth into one of those alignments or diseases or imbalances about a Virgo. And it's a key one. I know I was thinking about I was kind of battling. I was like, do I talk about digestion and the small intestine and the stomach and all these? Or do I talk about sleep? And I kind of sat with it and I was like, what do Virgos need to learn about more? And not that I'm saying one's better than the other or more aligned to Virgos, but what came to me was sleep. And the reason why is Virgos and sleep go hand in hand together. If you're a Virgo or if you know of a Virgo, you'll be like, oh my gosh, yes, sleep is something that they keep talking about. It's either great or it's not great at all. But the interesting thing about Virgos is they actually don't need a lot of sleep. They can function on maybe 7 hours of sleep, 7.5 hours of sleep. They don't need like 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep like some star signs do. You're like, oh, which star sign? Well, you wait till we get to those ones. Eager beaver there. Anyway, so Virgos don't actually need a lot of sleep, but they actually are really light sleepers. They're known to be very light sleepers. And this is because Virgo, the star sign, is ruled by Mercury, the planet Mercury. And the planet Mercury is all about the nervous system. It's all about the nerves, exhaustion, and so forth. And with Virgo, anxiety, burnout, overwork comes hand in hand. Literally, they come hand in hand together. So as you can see, I'm kind of forming a picture here. You've got someone who is anxious. They may be anxious. This is so me putting a picture together, but they may be anxious because their routines are out of whack, or they're analyzing something, or they're just working too hard. They're trying to achieve things. They're wanting perfection in something in their life. If that's in their family life, they're wanting perfection. If that's in their work life, they're wanting perfection. In their health, whatever's happening in their life in the moment, they're wanting to perfect it. And we know perfect doesn't exist, right? But a Virgo will be like, oh yes it does. That's why I love them. I absolutely love them. So they will try and reach that perfection, and then what will happen is they'll get anxious, and that anxiety will bring on that nervousness, right? And because they're anxious and they may not want to address what they're dealing with, they might move to work and overwork and try and achieve something, right? Either by distraction or by trying to achieve perfection. They will try and work on it really hard. And then they get exhausted. They get absolutely exhausted. So you can see kind of like how the day looks like. They get absolutely exhausted. It comes nighttime. They are wired and tired thanks to Mercury. They are just like go. Their brain is just like ticking over time. They may be sitting on the couch, still as anything, and just like watching TV or being around their family or friends, or even just alone, and their brain is like zzz, right? It's going and going and going, even though their body maybe still has. And this is what happens when it comes to come to bedtime. They may lay there, and these thoughts occur and over and over again. And you might be thinking, I'm not a Virgo, but this happens to me. It's interesting. Has this happened to you in Virgo season? Because I'll share a little bit about myself. What's happened is as soon as we went into Virgo season, my sleep dropped, right? I'm the type of individual that gets about 8.5 hours sleep Perfect. Amazing. My sleep average dropped to 6 hours. That is insane for me. And that's what happened as soon as we hit into Virgo season. I want to know if that's happened to you. Have you had any sleep issues, or has anything happened with sleep when we hit into Virgo season? It'd be really interesting. Or if you are a Virgo, do you have any issues with sleep? How is your sleep? When is it perfect? When is it really good? See how I use the word perfect? The Virgo energy is rubbing off on me. So what happens is then they fall asleep, hopefully, when it comes to nighttime. But then if they sleep with a partner, or if they sleep with kids, or even if they sleep alone, or if they've got animals, or they live on a busy road, they are light sleepers. Things will wake them up thanks to this Mercury influence and thanks to this nervous system activation and just this brain going. They might be asleep, but they will wake up lightly. And then they'll wake up and go, oh, either they will think about things, or some of them might actually even get up and do stuff that they were doing before bed, either work or house or anything like that, because they just can't stay in bed. It's really, really interesting. And then they just don't get a good night's sleep. Then they wake up and then they've got nervous system exhaustion. They're absolutely exhausted. And you can see how that is a cycle that just keeps going and going and going. And it's like, when does that stop? How does that stop? Because remember what I said at the start, the Virgo doesn't need a lot of sleep, but they need good quality sleep. And talking about, because we are in Virgo season, I would highly, highly suggest, and I know last episode I spoke about putting in things into place for your health, like joining a gym, routines and so forth. What I want to highlight this week is sleep routine. I would highly, highly suggest for you to think about what your sleep routine looks like, what you want it to look like. So what is it at the moment? If you're like, okay, my sleep routine at the moment is I just go to bed whenever, or I just watch TV, I'm on my phone scrolling in bed, and I fall asleep at 11 o'clock. Whatever it is now, it's like, okay, what do you want it to look like? Okay, you want to fall asleep about 10 o'clock, sleep throughout the night, and wake up refreshed. I mean, that sounds like an ideal sleep, right? To anyone. So it's kind of like, well, what routine things can you put into place right now, or plan, see, Virgo, plan to put into place in a few days so you can get a good quality sleep. And in Virgo season, like I said, it doesn't have to be 8, 9, 10 hours. It can literally be 7.5 hours. So what can we put into place? I can mention a few things, and this is outside of, this is not specific to you because I don't know your scenario. I don't know if you're a shift worker, if you're not a shift worker, what your sleep schedule is like and so forth. But one of the things that I would highly suggest looking at is, what are you wearing to sleep? Okay, and it sounds crazy. It's like, do you sleep naked? What type of clothes do you have on? Creep, Mihaela, creep. Anyway, so it's kind of like, all right, so if you do sleep naked, what are your sheets, your bed sheets made out of that's touching you while you're sleeping? Is it cooling? Is it making you hot, right? If you sleep with clothes on, do you have long sleeve, short sleeve? What material is it made out of? And the reason, so go back to short sleeve and long sleeve. The reason why I'm asking that is because you never want to get too hot in bed, okay? I would highly prefer you wear shorts and a singlet than wear a jumper and trackies to sleep, because you might fall asleep nice and warm, but then you'll wake up because you'll be too hot, because our body doesn't work well when we're too hot. We get best sleep when we're cold. We want to keep ourselves cold when we're going to sleep. So that's the first question is for your sleep routine is, what are you wearing to bed, or what are you not wearing to bed? And how can we adjust it? Number one thing that I want to look at is you want to keep cool. So whatever you're wearing, look at what material is it made out of. Is that material making you hot? Is that material actually healthy for you? So we're kind of looking at, there's two materials that are highly beneficial, is cotton and bamboo, because they're breathable and they keep you cool. So I highly, highly suggest that looking what you're wearing to sleep. The second one is light exposure before bed. Light exposure is absolutely key before bed, because when you think about what happens outside is, in the morning the sun comes out bright as anything, and at nighttime the sun goes down. We can all agree on that, right? When that sun goes down, you see the sky being like pinky or like reddy, and it just goes dull, right? It's not bright. But then what happens is we go home inside our house, kitchen lights are on, living room lights are on, bedroom lights are on, and all these lights are on and they're mimicking the sun, right? These lights are mimicking the sun. So our body is like, it's during the day, it's daylight, nighttime, daytime. Your body doesn't know and it can't decide what it is. So what we want to do is we want to mimic what's happening outside. No, I'm not saying just like leave all the lights off and like bump into things at nighttime when you're cooking. That's a bit dangerous, right? But what you can do is put lamps around the house on. Instead of the down lights, put lamps around. And I would highly suggest putting red light bulbs into those lamps. I know it sounds a bit crazy. You should see my bedroom. My neighbors are like, what does this chick do after like 8-9 o'clock? Because my bedroom's at the front of the house and all they see is red. It looks a bit crazy, doesn't it? So if you want to join the team and put red light on in your bedroom. What that does is it kind of lets our body know, hey, it's time to wind down. It's time to fall asleep because we're mimicking the sunset. We're not mimicking sunrise. Downlights mimic sunrise, which means awake. Okay, so that's a little bit about light. And I've done an episode, I think a few episodes on light therapy, and you can look into that and get a bit more information on that. So we have what you're wearing to bed. We have light. And then the third one is sleep routine. What can we talk about the third one? We've got what you're wearing, light, and then we could talk about consistency. I think that's a key one. Yeah, let's talk about consistency. Consistency is absolutely key. Our body thrives on consistency. What I mean by that is, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I can't do that, Mihaela. But bear with me and trial it. 30 minutes before or after. Try and have a consistent bedtime. So if we're looking about 10 o'clock, try and fall asleep between 9:30 and 10:30 every night, no matter if it's a weekend or weekday. And I know I'm guilty of this, especially when you go out and you come home at like 1 o'clock in the morning. The next day you aren't going to go to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning, but just try and average it out as much as you can. Because it's going to help you. Our body loves routine because when it kind of anticipates that you're going to go to sleep, and when that doesn't happen, it kind of gets a bit of a cortisol rush and a stress response and goes, oh, what's happening? I'm supposed to be getting that sleep and I'm not getting it. I'm freaking out a little bit. So I would highly suggest having a bit of consistency. So 3 things for sleep routine for Virgo season and for Virgo. So if you're a Virgo, this is absolutely key all the time. If you are going through Virgo season and you're not a Sun Virgo, then we're looking at 3 things. Is what are you wearing to sleep? This material that you're wearing, the light exposure that you're having before sleep, and then we are looking at the consistency. If you can get those 3 down pat, your sleep is going to be, it's going to be a game changer for your sleep. It's going to improve dramatically. And I want to know your feedback if you do put these into place. Let me know how it goes, and let me know a little bit more information on which one did you think had the biggest impact on you. I have a feeling it might be the red light for a lot of people, but let me know. I really want to know what has a huge impact on you. Let's talk about the research study. Let's talk about the science now. So I thought I would back it up with a research study on sleep. I mean, why not, right? And it goes hand in hand with Virgo because this research study also looks at mental health with that anxiety and potential depression, more anxiety and overthinking that the Virgos can do. So the research title is called Improving Sleep Quality Leads to Better Mental Health, a meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials. So it was released in the Sleep Medicine Reviews Journal, which is absolutely amazing. And that was in 2021, December. If you want to have a look into that, I can provide you with the pub reference, with the reference number. You can have a look into that more. But essentially what that research study looked at is sleep and mental health. It's interesting because problem sleeping and mental health difficulties are so interlinked, and it's like, which one causes which? Is it the mental health that doesn't allow you to sleep, or is it the not sleep that causes the mental health? And there's been so much debate, so many research studies that debate which one is which and which one causes which, right? People with insomnia are 17 times more likely than those without insomnia to experience clinical significant levels of depression and anxiety. That is huge. That's saying if you have insomnia, you're 17 times more likely to have depression and or anxiety. So sleep is plays a huge role in mental health. So this study is a meta-analysis of 21 longitudinal studies reported that people with insomnia at baseline had a twofold risk of developing depression at follow-up compared with people who did not experience insomnia. That was one of the studies that they reviewed. With this study that it looked into, because it is a meta-analysis, so it looked at a number of studies, and those are just two that I mentioned in that study. But the overall theme of this is that findings revealed that improving sleep quality had on average a medium-sized effect on mental health, including clear evidence that improving sleep reduces depression, anxiety, and stress. I'm going to read that out again, okay? The findings revealed that improving sleep quality had on average a medium-sized effect on mental health, including clear evidence that improving sleep reduces depression, anxiety, and stress. Boom, mind-blowing. Improve your sleep, improve your anxiety, depression, and your stress. I know it sounds so simple, and with the techniques that I mentioned above, you can use those, and hopefully your anxiety and depression and your stress would just improve. The thing also that it said in the study, it says it was also notable that they found the dose-response relationship between improvements in sleep quality and subsequent mental health, such that greater improvements in sleep led to greater improvements in mental health. How amazing is that? So that means you can actually improve your mental health on a basis of like improving it a little bit and then a bit more, and you can always keep improving depending on your sleep quality. That is like extraordinary, and it's also so freeing because it's not just you sleep 7 hours and your mental health will be better. It's like, okay, well, let's see what feels right for me. Like, sit down and think about it. How many hours of sleep did you get last night, and how much anxiety did you have? Here we go. An absolutely amazing idea is a journal. You can have a journal next to your bed and write down how many hours of sleep you had. And then before you go to bed, you can kind of rate your anxiety, depression, and stress. And then after a week, I would say a month or 3 months, but even after a week, you can see the difference. You'll be able to see, okay, my sleep was about 8 hours. Oh, look at that. My anxiety was down, my stress was down, and my depression was down. Wow, it's correlated. So you can kind of do like a little research study on yourself. I think it's absolutely amazing. I know myself that if I don't get a certain amount of sleep, I know that my stress, my anxiety goes through the roof, okay? And I can just imagine that's like for you. Please let me know what it feels like for you. And I love that it's dose dependent. I love that. So essentially, this present research that I'm presenting to you supports the view that sleep is causally related to the experience of mental health difficulties, and therefore that sleep represents a viable treatment target that can be offered to significantly benefit mental health, as it has been found to do also for physical health. So we have research here showing that sleep helps mental health, depression, anxiety, and stress. So next time you're feeling stressed or depressed or anxious, think about your sleep. What was your sleep like? I mean, how beautiful would it be to go to a health professional and you go to them because you've got anxiety and depression, and the first thing they ask you is, hey, how was your sleep? How much sleep did you have last night? What does your sleep look like? Are you refreshed when you wake up? How many times do you wake up during the night? How long does it take you to fall asleep? Do you wake up with an alarm clock? All these questions. You can make a journal and ask yourself all these questions and then analyze it like a Virgo would and reflect upon it and see what fits right for me and how many hours is the right hours for me, because it's different for every single person. And as we'll go through the zodiac signs, I can mention how much sleep those zodiac signs need. It's different for every single zodiac sign, yet alone for every single individual. It depends what work you do, what you did during the day, and what you ate, and so many other things. So I kind of just wanted to bring this episode about because we are in Virgo season and sleep is a huge factor for Virgos. And then I wanted to back it up with this research study that, Virgos do suffer, I shouldn't say suffer, are prone to anxiety, are prone to overstimulation, also prone to sleep issues. And therefore this study kind of backs it up by saying if we sleep better, therefore we can improve our anxiety, our depression, and our maybe our overstimulation can be reduced with sleep. So the whole summary of this episode is kind of like, hey, look at your sleep routine. And you can put those 3 things that I mentioned above into place, and hopefully your sleep will just skyrocket and get better. Please do let me know. I want to know. Let me know in the comments. Contact me on Instagram. Send me a message. Let me know what your sleep is like, or if any of those have helped you, or if anything else has helped you with your sleep. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Natural Podcast. And remember, you are pure love, capable of living life to its fullest expression. Content and information provided here is opinion of Mihaela and is for information purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is not intended to provide medical advice or take the place of medical advice or any current treatment you're undertaking. Consult your own medical professionals for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast. It is advised that you consult your doctor or healthcare professional in relation to any health concerns you may be having. Mihaela does not take responsibility for any health consequences which occur from a person listening, viewing, or reading this content. And no circumstances shall the Natural Podcast, Mihaela, any guests or contributors to the Natural Podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Mihaela be responsible for damages arising from the information provided on the Natural Podcast. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical conditions in either yourself or others. Please note, if you're taking prescription, do not stop your medication or start a new protocol, including but not limited to supplements, diet, lifestyle changes without consulting your doctor or healthcare professional. If you or any person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical advice. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have read or heard on the Natural Podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. Neither Mihaela nor the publisher of this content takes responsibility for the possible health consequences of any person or persons reading or listening or following the information in the educational content.